The last game of the year, regular season, emblematic of all 272 games, just wild, back and forth, everything you want, meaningful. So many thoughts on the playoff field. The winds have changed. Now it's back to the Packers being favored. What's going on? That game, of course, was always going to be at Soldier Field. The Bears didn't look the best, but they still get to play and face Green Bay for a third time. And then, of course, it comes down to who's the better coach in those third round situation. Who has the coaching advantage? Talked to Gronk about it last week when it comes to the Patriots. When it comes to the NFC North, that one's a big thing. I have so many thoughts. And speaking of that, we have Hall of Famer. How sweet is it that Leroy Butler is going to grace us with his presence this morning, here to talk about the Packers and the Bears wildcard match of the history, all of it. And ESPN's Ben Solak, kind enough to join us to dig into everything. And there's coaching changes and all sorts of stuff. So let's do it. So much to get to. Playoffs are here, and we got to celebrate that. And hopefully they will be even more fun. Though that will be hard to do than what this regular season was. My big joke always with Hamilton is every Monday morning we come into work and he we'll script out some stuff to start the show, and it'll say, top of the A block, what a wild week. What a crazy week of that. And it's copy and paste every week, maybe a couple different adjectives tossed in, but unbelievable. Week in, week out, we got what we wanted. Broncos, Chargers, let's be honest, but that's okay. Outside of that, let's take a look at the wild card slate as we finally have it revealed. Yay, it starts on Saturday afternoon. It's Rams, Panthers, okay? LA, 10.5-point faves. Biggest spread in favor of a road team in playoff history. Remember, though, the Panthers did beat the Rams in Carolina not too long ago. Then, Saturday night, it's that Bears-Packers game I'm already talking about too much. That line's been flip-flopping. Chicago was favored for a bit. Now Green Bay up. Wow, they're 1.5-point faves against the Bears as of this morning. That game in Chicago. Sunday, Bills, Jags, Buffalo 1.5-point faves, Niners, Eagles. In Philly, Philly 3.5-point faves. They're tough draw for the Niners. And Chargers at Patriots Sunday night. New England 3.5-point faves in that one, as you see written clearly here. Go to FanDuel Sportsbook, guys. Get your bets in. Have some fun responsibly, of course. And I'll, of course, spend rounds off with the Texans at the AFC North champion Steelers on Monday. Aaron Rodgers did his thing. Told you he would. I don't even know if it's about its experience or what. I think it was a will. He had the will of this. Is this going to be my last thing? not that it didn't mean more to the Ravens, but I thought that probably had something to do with it. The thoughts, it's very Aaron Rodgers. It's very woo-saw. It's very woo-woo to sort of manifest his team. And he was emotional afterwards. It was nice. And congrats to the Steelers. What a finish. I mean, best game in the history of this incredible rivalry by far, right? Am I missing one? Question mark. There's been some good ones. Smash mouth, defense, all that low score. This was great, and it was a very fitting way to go into the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers can put a team on his back. He can't do it. What has he done in the last 3 years to show you he's done it? From what we saw last night, and he's getting DK back. You tell me this team can't go on a run? You're all wrong. You're all wrong. This could be different. This could be, what they had hoped for to start the season in bringing in Aaron Rodgers. The old man was brilliant last night. Season high 294, laser after laser. It's Aaron freaking Rodgers, the one we know, love, and remember. I don't know what the peptides are. GHC 39, I don't know what they are. The copper one that everyone's taking in LA, I don't know. But he really had to be so locked in and so damn near perfect with the way Lamar was playing, and he was. And to answer that with the Lamar to Zay, right, that happens. And then again, another breakdown in the secondary leads to another Zay 50-plus yarder. We haven't seen Pittsburgh do that all year. Division on the line, peak Aaron, and you cannot get me to tell you or agree with you or even hear you out that you're telling, if you try to tell me that, Aaron can't do this. That, he can't flip a table or wreck shop. Impossible. Now, the defense can't have the massive mistakes that they did last night. It's going to happen, but there's real juice here. And they play on Monday, a little extra day of cryotherapy and witch doctors and ayahuasca microdosing, whatever it's going to take. The Texans, that is a rough draw for them, huh? Who would be worse for Aaron? Probably the Broncos, maybe. A little faith in play calling and the coaching of Sean against him. The same kind of vicious pass rush, relentless, two dominant guys that can take you down. That's a pretty bad draw for Aaron Rodgers still. Can't get over it. Think he can do it all. Think he can go all the way. Ravens side of things. Ravens fans I've thought about a lot over the past week because I think they have every right to be salty and they're quick to clap back and aren't with us, you're against us if you just say something good. Like they're in this mood, but like you have some of the best players in the league. And how does this happen? You know, I would be just as mad if I had these kind of players and this high caliber Super Bowl winning pedigree coach leading the way. I don't understand it. You get Lamar looking the best he's looked all year, truly pure MVP Lamar, making every clutch play you can ask for. Derrick Henry looked unstoppable. You had everything you could want, and you had just gotten to the playoffs with Lamar and Derrick Henry playing like this. Who knows what could have happened? You also could have wrecked shop. It's heartbreaking and super frustrating. I don't really know where you go from here as a fan. There's a lot of talk and banter about what needs to change. Should we go a different direction? Has it just run its course? The head coach, we've heard about the coordinators. The people are trying to ship Lamar to Miami, all these things happening. Trading Lamar, I'm just going to say it. It's like the stupidest thing you could do, right? Like if you're a Ravens fan, if you're not a Ravens fan, we can all agree on that, right? He was clearly hurt for most of this year. I don't think it's any deeper than that. He had his first healthy week of practice this week, first one, and look what he did. He's still the most electric player in the league. That he's not the problem, and I never thought that I'd have to say that. But Ham, here we are, and I will. Is there? Oh, sorry, just live TV. Hello. Good morning to you. Congrats to your Jags. We'll get there in a sec. Is there like a he's not available enough thing happening with Lamar that's like out there?
Yeah, that's part of the discussion and all of this, which he's had a few injuries over the years, but I don't think that's been a big enough storyline to justify any of
Well, I mean,
the
but if the
rumored
only
stuff that's
issue
being
is that
talked
he's
about.
not available and he wasn't available all year, but when he is, he's great, that is justifiable to say, well, he's not available, right?
Yeah, but for 1 year, like you're gonna say, whatever quarterback gets hurt for like Patrick Mahomes, we're gonna say 'cause he got hurt, like that he wasn't available this fast. Like that's a ridiculous argument to make to me. And he's had little things here and there, but he's there, he's been there typically when it matters most.
Yeah.
Um, and he's playing at this level. Like I've seen some too, like, oh, the injuries have taken something out of him. He's not the same player. Like, no, look at last night. He's absolutely the same player.
Yeah. And there's just like these questions that come up about his like toughness and his like body and like all, and I'm trying to figure out where they come from. But yeah, maybe there should be some other changes, but not Lamar. You're not doing anything to Lamar. Hey, how about the playoff picture in the AFC here with your guy? We got Packers Bears, of course, that has a lot of intrigue. How about Jags Bills? As we take a look here. Love that. First of all, congratulations to the city of Jacksonville. Loved going to their training camp. They just clinched the AFC freaking South yesterday. Most wins since 1999. They end the regular season on an 8-game winning streak. Just incredible what Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence have done down the stretch. And for the Bills, their biggest rivals of this Josh Allen era are all officially out after last night. Patrick, Joe, Lamar. Man, we've said it all along here on the show. They better win. But the seeding, thanks to the Texans' late comeback, puts them against one of the hottest teams in the business. Rather than a trip to Pittsburgh, where they probably would have been favored by, what, like a million? Double digits for sure. They're slight faves in this one. I don't know. It sort of feeds into this narrative that exists, that there's this, like, disrespect that has fueled this Jags team defensively, especially as they're trying to like do their thing on offense with just the chemistry, Liam and Trevor, and all of that working. This game can be the start of Josh Allen's legacy run to a Super Bowl. Or if the Jags win, I mean, it is tabula rasa, which is, I believe, what's tabula rasa? Greek? No, it's Latin. Latin for clean slate. Okay, total clean slate, tabula rasa in the AFC. And it will ensure that we're going to get two wonderfully deserving quarterbacks who will be starting their first ever AFC Championship game, no matter what unfolds the rest of the way. So we get the new blood. And I would almost love to see that. Seahawks, let's get to that. Let's talk about the one seed. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but so is these playoff picture and these storylines from yesterday. We have had some coaching firings. We're going to talk to our ESPN friend about that. And we have Leroy Butler on the show as well. But just so you know, like, yes, we understand the Falcons coach and GM, Terry, and they got fired. And Stefanski just got let go. I believe Barry is staying, waiting to see who else might be on the move. The Bengals did not make any moves. I have thoughts on that. I will not share right now because I haven't, fully come to grips with that. But let's talk a little bit about the Seahawks, who are like so incredible, and they're the one seed, of course. And what a season it's been, right? They're the Super Bowl favorites. And with the way they stack up against other contenders, they really should be. Let's take a look here. They're the best football team in the NFL right now. Niners had been putting up close to 40 all game. Per game over the last month. Seattle just completely shut the whole thing down on Saturday night. And with everything that happened yesterday, they have rightfully taken the crown as the NFL's #1 scoring defense on the year. To do that in a division with the Rams and Niners is bananas. I'm sure there are people who are going to want to see what Sam Darnold does in the playoffs before they fully buy in. But I think we saw that in a big game, right? He might not put up huge numbers. He completed 77% of his passes. I like that. On the road, one seed on the line. That's pretty big, wouldn't you say? I'm wondering if the fourth quarter of that Rams game did something for him, which like slayed a dragon, got something off his shoulders. Let's not forget that things were kind of going the same way as the other big Darnold games in recent memory until that Rashid Shaheed punt return. Little spark, little momentum, Sam catches fire. He went 8 of 9, 91 yards, 2 scores, and the game-winning 2-point conversion after that. And he hasn't looked back. So maybe there's something to the team picking him up when things aren't going well. Maybe it's just, knowing that it's like not entirely on young Sam to do absolutely everything. But he hasn't looked back. He's shown up in back-to-back primetime games. Division, one seed on the line. And he's got wins, which is amazing. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. We have Ben Solak, our guy from ESPN, on the other side. We'll go through some storylines. Maybe a coach will get fired while we're on. You never know what'll happen here the day after the regular season. I'm sorry, man.
How is the rain situation going over there?
For sure. I'm in Vegas. I did what any responsible adult does in a natural disaster. They pick up and go to Vegas.
Yeah.
No, I sent
Makes
Hamilton.
sense.
I don't want to show a picture of it, but I have what do you even call that? I'm not equipped.
Like a mudslide type of situation going on?
What's the difference between, you're going to think I'm so dumb. What's the landslide, mudslide difference?
I don't
Landslide
know
is
the
like
exact
dry?
distinction, but yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I woke up and I heard something. I heard something, but I couldn't see what it was or figure it out. And then lo and behold, and it was at night, so I couldn't see anything. And then I wake up in the morning, and like the back of my house is like backed up to like a what do you call that? Like a hill, like a lot of land, a mountain, a cliff. What do you call that?
Yeah, it's like a hill, right?
Sure. And and it like there was like some netting on it to like keep it. I don't think there's like new vegetation. I learned so much. You're gonna die. Like hills need roots and trees and things so they don't move. And it doesn't have a ton because it's like young land. And anyway, it snaps all. It just all starts coming down. And the most alarming thing is how like not alarmed I am. Because you think that would be like, what do we do? Move the table, move the grill, and I'm just like, huh. Like,
Maybe leave the house. Yeah.
I don't really know what I mean. I understand the worst of what could happen, but I'm so ill-equipped, as is California, to deal with anything that
No.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't really know how bad it is. I was gonna set up like a ring cam on it, but that would just stress me out.
Yeah. I'm
Anyway,
going to take that bite out of context and use it repeatedly. But I'm so
yeah.
ill-equipped to deal with anything. Yeah.
I'm in a, I have no. I feel like I can do like, but I mean, if it's like a blizzard, I can salt a driveway. I don't understand
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. But when it comes like this is like new territory for me. And then
Yeah. What are you going to do?
you brought up the horrifying. What did you say to me in the morning meeting?
Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right. And the Steelers are the champions of the North.
Let's do it. Breaking down the regular season, the future, and the playoff picture, the present with coaches getting sacked. ESPN NFL analyst Ben Solak, got to put you on the spot here with this. I just heard it in my ear. We have a firing relieving of Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. I mean, that one was going to happen, right? I think that was kind of anticipated across the board, so it's not too much of a surprise. Still sad, though.
What do you think they do here? I was thinking about, there's all these rumors about like who could potentially take that spot. Is it Flores? Florio was saying Flores, and Dable is a play caller. And I'm like, what is the scare? Like, what do you need to make like Sean Payton and Andy Reid pee down their leg? Like what coach do you bring in there?
I was mad that Flores had the Flores thing yesterday because we had a thing come out today for ESPN of like, bold predictions for all the eliminated teams. And my bold prediction was that they'd hire Flores.
Oh, really?
I think of what Mike McDonald has been for the Seahawks in the NFC West division with Kyle Shanahan, with Sean McVay, where it's okay, if we're going to have really good offensive designers here, let's get a really good defensive mind who will give us a punching chance against these teams who aren't used to being stopped, who aren't used to playing these slow, grimy, and gritty games. I also think I want to call Flores a culture guy because of the Patriots background. He was in Miami and there are obviously culture problems there, but he's also talked a lot about the fact that he feels like he did a really not great job in Miami with some of the culture stuff, and he'd like to do it differently on the second go. And so I still very much lean Flores. I think Flores, if you were to, wipe away the fact that he's suing the NFL and everything that's gone down the last few years, he'd be clear and away far 101 best coaching candidate available among the coordinator ranks. Right now, Kevin Stefanski's available. It's kind of tricky. But Flores, to me, like above Clint Kubiak, above Chris Shula, he'd be the guy. Obviously, he is suing the NFL, so that kind of complicates things.
Yes, and Pete's done?
I would hope so. Not so much because I think that he doesn't have the juice anymore, but obviously in terms of some of the coordinator hirings, his kids were on the staff, and the Chip Kelly thing was a total disaster. He traded for Geno because he knows Geno. Eventually you just reach a hard limit in terms of guys and ways how to approach and tackle the league. And I think while Carroll's shtick could work again if he had a long time to totally fill out a roster with his dudes, that's just not the NFL we live in anymore. And I don't know how much clock he has left in terms of his energy and enthusiasm for it. So I hope it's the end for Pete. Just because I like the guy, not because I think it's that much of a disaster.
Is there a coach that's playing in the playoffs? To be these teams, they make it, they should be celebrating, they have their division T-shirts and their hats. And there's I'm a little worried that some of these coaches might still be their seat's not quite cooled off. You know what I mean? It's not, the LaFleurs, the McDermotts, the Tomlins. If there was one coach in the playoff field that you have a little nervousness about in that regard, who is it?
It's McDermott, because if the Bills make a AFC playoff field that lacks Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and then they lose one and done to the Jaguars, which these Jaguars are a very good team, but on the scale of NFL owners being embarrassed, losing to the Jaguars is kind of up there. I could see not that McDermott will be fired on the tarmac, but there's going to be a big sit down. There's going to be a conversation. How did this all go wrong? It's going to be you need to make an offensive coordinator change, or, the general manager this. And things could precipitate and trickle down such that eventually it leads to, that mutual parting of ways, you might call it, or, we need a new start or whatever. Simply because the Bills have been a little bit unfairly set up for very high expectations in this particular AFC playoff field because the other star quarterbacks aren't in it, despite the fact that this Bills team, not outside of Josh, not as good as maybe you'd like for the Bills to be, not as good as we're accustomed to them being. And so I could see an embarrassing one and done loss in Jacksonville leading to some domino effects that gets McDermott out of there.
But that is embarrassing. Like, and I've been saying this for the longest with this. Now it's like very sexy to say like Bills better win. I was on it like in November. Like, this is your, in a positive way. Like, this is your like, go for it. And it's, oh, we don't have the defense. So, like, that's embarrassing that you don't have the defense, because what are you doing with the best quarterback, the reigning MVP? Right. And you don't, like, it's an embarrassment that you don't have that and you're not ready to go, despite, no matter which quarterback is or isn't out there. What do you think, like is Josh just gonna, how can he take advantage of this, you know, in this matchup? Like, how can he, is it a good matchup for him?
So Josh, I think always, like, in the postseason, Josh feels more willing to wear the Superman cape, right, on 1st and 10, let alone on like 3rd and goal and in the red zone and so on and so forth. You see him run more in the playoffs than he typically does. I don't think that the Jags are a good matchup for them, because Jacksonville does a lot of stuff defensively to, you know, play zone coverage and drop guys off line of scrimmage and be creative. And when you face those teams, your hope is to get them into man coverage, to run them into man coverage, which the Bills can do the first half of that. They're a great running team. And then to take advantage of the matchups. And the Bills just don't have matchup winners at receiver, right? Like, they are still trying to make, you know, Brandon Cook's shot play guy 2025 work, 2026 work. And that's just like, you don't want to be living in that world in this year. That's desperation. We've seen that with all their wide receiver changes over the course of the season. And so even if you, like, the game plan is probably to really run it down Jacksonville's throat, take advantage of not the best defensive tackle room, try to control clock and tempo, but then you're still playing a one-score game against the Jaguars offense that's just unbelievably on fire right now throwing the football. The matchup that interests me the most is if the Bills defense could take the air out of Jacksonville, because Jacksonville is pushing it, throwing more 10 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field than anybody else in football. And that's what the Bills do, is the Bills pack those intermediate zones. They make you check it down and they make you be incremental. And we've seen Lawrence do that. He did that against the Colts 2 weeks ago, and it was impressive, but it's not where he's strongest. He's at his best when he gets to rip it. And so that matchup there is what interests me in that game.
If we look at the playoff picture, and it's finally like sealed and beautiful, and look, what an epic finish. I need to get into that. The highlights we just showed, of course, between the Steelers and Ravens in the AFC North. But when you look at this, like, where is the brilliant mind of ESPN's Ben Solak going? What sticks out?
I think that the Texans can run the AFC even from the wild card spot. To me, that's the kind of the storm cloud's been gathering on the horizon here for the last several weeks as they've gotten better and better. It's not the strongest AFC field, like we've talked about. That Texans defensive unit is a unit that can absolutely win 3 games in a row. They get an easy start, right, with getting the Steelers as the 4 seed. It's obviously not, you don't want to look ahead of the game. The Steelers have legitimate stuff, but in general, like, catching that 4 seed in both conferences is a big deal. So the Texans, to me, are like very viable to run out of the 5 seed in the AFC, which is not something we typically see a wild card team making it all the way through. And then in the NFC, I don't see how we're not just getting NFC West rematches all the way down, right? I think that the Niners are very viable to be the Eagles at the 6th seed, which would set up Niners-Seahawks part 3 in the divisional round. And then the Rams get the Panthers, like I said, in that first game. To me, that's a great draw as that 4 seed. And we could be seeing, all right, Rams in the divisional round, and then the other side of the brackets, 2 more NFC West teams. Like, we might be getting 3-match Seahawks-Niners and then 3-match Seahawks-Rams down the stretch of the NFC playoffs, which, given how those games have been, would be ideal. That'd be very, very fun.
Well, these Eagles, they rest their starters, right? They end up with the 3 seed. Chicago, they lose, and the 2 seed was within reach, right, for the Eagles. Was it a mistake for them to rest their starters?
No, I mean, to me, this is classic, like, yeah, now that we know that the Bears lost, like, of course it would be great to have the 2 seed. But in general, like, I think health into the playoffs is more predictive of victory than 2-3 seed split, right? The only way the 2-3 seed split really ends up mattering is if it goes 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3-5 coming in a division round. You have to travel to Chicago instead of playing Chicago at home. Eagles already lost to Chicago at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's not enough of a tilt there. Like, if we're talking like the Lions, who are a dome team, Jared Goff does not play well in the cold. There, I think the seeding would matter more to me with the Eagles and how they play. I don't care too much about the home and away relative to other teams, and you're able to make sure that you stay healthy. And the Eagles are quite a healthy team entering the postseason here. Still have most of their offensive line together. Lane Johnson's coming back defensively. It's just the Nakobe Dean injury you're worried about. Like, this is a quite healthy group. And when we go look historically, what predicts playoff success? It's health. So I don't mind them protecting it. And hey, like, they're very, very winnable Commanders game that they lost because of bad 4th down execution, because they had 100 yards of penalties from their defensive backs. Like, they could have just won that game and they were in it the whole way.
I think fans who watch my show, football fans, want to know what you think about the Eagles, how far they can go.
I think they lose to the 49ers. I find them a very difficult team to trust. Their only good offensive performances over the last 2 months have come against bad defenses. And I think it's fair to say the 49ers are a bad defense by the advanced metrics, but the 49ers are also good at like getting off the field on third down, executing in the red zone. And the Eagles have been a great third and fourth down team and a great red zone team. So it's going to kind of come down to high leverage plays on that side of the ball. Defensively, you really like what the Eagles have done and the improvement from a lot of players from their defensive line. The young secondary is great, but they're gettable. They've been gettable because they don't have great edge rush presence and they don't have a great corner too. And you're going against Kyle Shanahan, which is just like Kyle never walks into a game plan where you have 2 or 3 weak spots and doesn't find a way to get after them. So it's hard to imagine the Niners having as quiet of an offensive performance as they did against the Seahawks, against these Eagles. And then it becomes down to, okay, like late game, fourth quarter, 1-score game, which passing offense do you trust? Like which team do you trust to execute? Like the Eagles have just not won my faith in that regard over the course of the season. So it's a 3.5-point line against the 49ers. And I think the 49ers are the right side of that. Eagles, like, how far can they go? They could win like 9 Super Bowls this year. They're a ridiculous team that wins games they should never win and goes the distance on bad performances, and they're hot and they're cold. So like they can always go an incredibly far distance. I just don't have very much faith in them on any given week.
If they put in Tanner McKee, does that change anything for you?
Yeah, they would be worse. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Tanner McKee. I just love rooting for Tanner McKee. He's very funny. I like the way he plays. He's a good QB too. Tanner McKee's a solid QB too. I've never said bench Hurts for him. That's never come out of my mouth once.
I know, but people really think you have like it out for Jalen.
Well, I tweet a lot about Tanner McKee, so I think that's honestly is a fair assumption. I'm below market on Jalen Hurts, certainly for like an NFL analyst and for a guy who's an Eagles fan and grew up an Eagles fan. And then I think Tanner McKee is quite good. I don't think objectively McKee is better than Jalen Hurts, but people will precipitate and believe what they like to believe, and that's fine. They can go for that.
When I'm watching this game last night, Steelers-Ravens, I am like very demonstrative. I'm like, but I just want what are when you take in that kind of a game? Are you this guy right here?
Oh man, absolutely not. I mean, like
What are you
the
like?
tricky thing is like usually like when every single play is happening, I'm just hitting up the ESPN research guys, being like 5 minutes out about this, 5 minutes out about that. I love those guys and they're great. Shout out Mike, shout out John, shout out all these dudes who take all my messages at 11 p.m. So usually I'm just like fiending for cool stats and just like ways to contextualize how exciting this is. But then yeah, I mean like my pops is a Steelers fan, right? And so I'm texting him. I'm texting him, my brother's home with him going ballistic. And my dad's just there, sending texts with like, capital letters and periods, right? Just like no reaction whatsoever. It's like very, very calm because that's how old people text. And so, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. Like if you can't enjoy that game, if you're not getting up out of your seat at Zay Flowers, breaking through tackles 50 yards down the field, you don't like pro football, man. I mean, that was electric.
What was your dad saying? What's his take on the Steelers? Is he in?
Well, I mean, he's been trying to fire Mike Tomlin for 9 years, as I feel like all Steelers fans have. And so he's obviously thrilled and peacock walking this morning. And like, of course, the Steelers won the division. And then the moment they lose, he'll be back on Tomlin's job. And that's just how it's gone for the last 6 years and how it'll go for another 6 years.
How come you didn't name Tomlin as someone who should be worried? You think that's just like he wins even if they lose in horrifying fashion, which they might with this pass rush with the Texans? Yeah.
Because I don't think we've learned anything new about Tomlin since the last time we did this, right? Like the Steelers went 10-7 again. They did it with below average quarterback play again. They won games that they shouldn't have won because of key turnovers and late game execution, and definitely a whole lot of fairy dust and luck again. Like we always do the Tomlin conversation. And I'd certainly 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, what are we talking about? We should never get rid of the guy. And then the last 1 or 2 years, I've been like, okay, I would kind of understand it because there hasn't been an upward trajectory from what we've seen the last 5 or 6 years, but there's been no downward trajectory. He continues to do exactly what he promises he will do, which is every Steelers game, he drags the opponent down to the muck. They play a 17-13 rock fight. And even in these moments where all of a sudden the scoring explodes, they have the ability to keep pacing those because Rodgers is a little bit better. The passing game is a little bit better. And so, yeah, it's so hard for me to manufacture more Tomlin concern because we're on the same treadmill every single year. And until something changes dramatically one way or the other, I won't expect anything different from the Steelers.
They were so bad last week, Ben, so bad. What changed? What changed for Rodgers without DK? How did they find success without him?
Playing the Ravens secondary sure does help. Kyle Hamilton going down in the middle of the game. Like I said, a lot of fairy dust and luck there for Mike Tomlin. That sure does help. The Ravens.
There was a priest or something there too, I think.
Yeah. Which, the holy water before the game on the field. This is pro stuff now. The Ravens are what we call a pass funnel defense. They're one of the best defenses, snap to snap efficiency against the run. They are below average against the pass. So this is the sort of team against whom you want a quarterback who can get up to the line of scrimmage and take you out of a certain call and get you into a different call. Something that Rodgers does obviously prolifically at times to his team's detriment, but in this case, often to his team's strength. They did get Calvin Austin back. You're seeing here on the stutter go. He was out of the hamstring last couple of weeks, and he's a vertical player for them. They have so much in Pat Freiermuth and in Adam Thielen and MVS, guys who certainly can win these one-on-ones, but you don't want them to be speed players down the field. Austin returning brought that back to them a little bit. The Ravens just got banged up there in the secondary and then could not tackle for a lick, right? And I thought Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico, who both of them, Tirico especially, called an unbelievable game. Great job rising to the moment. But Collinsworth did a very nice job, I thought, identifying just how much meat was left on the bone from the Ravens' tackling perspective. If you can't get the Steelers consistently into 3rd and 8s and get the pass rush on Rodgers, they're just going to increment their way down the field on you, because Rodgers will always dump it off. He will always be fast at the check down. He will always take 4 or 5 yards. And eventually Gainwell breaks one on you, Warren breaks one on you, and 5 becomes 15. And so Ravens, man, I like Harbaugh. I like Eric DaCosta. They need personnel help in a big way.
They need personnel help. They have some of the best players in the National Football League. You just mentioned Kyle Hamilton, Lamar, Derek. What do you mean?
Well, so you have your tentpole pieces, right? You have your cornerstones: Lamar, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, Ronnie Stanley. We build around these guys. Everything else for them has been draft and develop, right? They have not signed a big free agent contract, save for Derrick Henry. The last big free agent contract they signed was in like 2016. Like, they do not spend big money on outside guys. That's fine. That's a very, professional and long-term way of building. I understand that. But when it's internal extension on Rashad Bateman, internal extension onto Mark Andrews, internal extension onto John Jenkins, when it is Chidobe Awuzie as a second corner along with Jair Alexander, when it is Teddy Buchanan and Trenton Simpson, draft and develop guys at linebacker, when it is Odafe Owe into David Ojabo, into Adisa Isaac, all at the edge rusher, into Mike Green, all at the edge rusher position. You can't draft this good. You cannot only keep your guys. It's the Chris Ballard issue in Indianapolis, where all you do is draft and develop and extend your own dudes. At some point, you catch 2 or 3 bad years, even if you're a good GM, and you just don't have enough talent, right? The Ravens have such good blue chip players. You said they have the stars. They absolutely do. When you get to the 2nd and 3rd tier of players, like Zay Flowers had a tremendous game last night. Is Zay one of the 20 best receivers in football? Like, are we positive he's better than like T. Higgins, Devontae Smith? No, exactly. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Tremendous catch from Isaiah Likely. Are we sure either one of these players right now at this stage in their careers is like top 10, top 15 tight end? I'm wholly unconvinced. And so you lose a lot in the margins when you're this stars and scrubs and all we're going to do is extend our guys mentality. So I didn't even bring up the offensive line. Both guard spots are drafted and developed.
This is what brings up this Lamar issue, right? Or the dilemma, because you can't afford to bring anybody in.
Well, in terms of big money contracts?
Yeah.
Bupkis, absolutely not. No. There are so many teams that have signed so many big quarterback contracts, and they are still able to go and spend money in free agency. Absolutely, you have to be able to win in the 2nd tier and in the 3rd tier, or you do the Eagles thing and you kick all the cans down the road. You spend an unbelievable amount of money, which I understand not every ownership group can do, and not every ownership group wants to do. But we're talking about guard, right? Like, we're talking about Kevin Zeitler signing for 1 year, $9 million with the Tennessee Titans. Like, if you cannot solve the right guard spot, and remember, they had Patrick McCarry in the building. They had Ben Powers in the building, right? They have had John Simpson. They had dudes there who have gone on to sign, 2nd tier to 3rd tier level contracts, Simpson in the Jets and Powers with the Broncos at other spots. And they said, we can draft and develop. Like, man, like, even if you get 85% of the guy that just left the building, that accumulates over all these positions. You have a linebacker 2 problem, you have an edge rusher problem, you have a guard problem, and just there are too many holes in your roster such that once Lamar hurts his leg, like, the season is lost. You got to be more serious about that 2nd, 3rd tier of the roster. You really do. He's
owed $75 million against the cap next year.
Still a bargain. 2-time MVP.
So, I don't. Maybe I'll have to look at my math. I thought that was the issue. I thought that was the whole article from the Baltimore Sun. I thought it was that he's due 75. They have to fully kick the can or move him.
So that is a.
I'm probably wrong.
Like, that's not. That is. I'll put it this way. I don't think that's a wrong read at all. They absolutely have to kick the can. It'll allow them to create 2026 cap space to fill the existing things on the roster. The point is that kicking the can, while it sounds like a pejorative, it's like we shouldn't be doing this as bad team building. every team that is seriously contending with a veteran quarterback is kicking the can. It's the cost of doing business. The alternative, because we always do this. We're like, no quarterback has ever accounted for more than 15% of the team's cap and won a Super Bowl. That was true, I think, before Jalen Hurts won last year. But regardless, there was that 20-year stretch where it was all cheap quarterbacks winning Super Bowls. It's like, man, you shouldn't pay a quarterback. Dude, the alternative is just like the Colts, right? You have a good roster, you filled it out with guys, and you just run a quarterback cycle, and even if you get lucky with Daniel Jones for 8 weeks, it can fall apart at the drop of a hat. The alternative is the Jets, who's quarterback. The alternative is the Cardinals, quarterback. Like, it is true to say kicking the can down with the money has risks and brings you danger, and you have to be able to win in the bottom margins of the roster. It's all totally true. But the opposite universe sucks. Everybody who's in the opposite universe who doesn't have a quarterback hates being there. So you gotta stay in the first one and try to win on the margins.
I just learned a million things. You're so smart. Thank you for sharing. Like, I had not thought of it that way. I don't really even have a response.
Yeah, it is 75 million cap hit for Lamar Jackson. It is an $80 million cap hit for Dak Prescott. It is going to be like 84 for Patrick Mahomes in a couple years. They are all bargains because they're franchise quarterbacks. That's just the nature of the league.
I hate the idea that it's like just they have other, but you're saying the middle and secondary. I very much hear what you're saying. I'm looking at this playoff field while we're talking, and it's like Broncos should just easily go to the Super Bowl, right? Like, and then they look like what they looked like yesterday, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, do you have like total faith in them that they can do it in the AFC? Like, are you in on them in a crazy way? Because like the Chargers are blitzing him pretty well. Do we believe in Bo? Where are you with the Broncos?
Yeah, I've always held my doubts about Bo, so it's hard for me to get fully on the train. So somebody asked me in a column in like week 9. They were like, "Are you ready to take the Broncos seriously as AFC contenders?" I just wrote like, "No." Like, I didn't even like explain it, and Broncos fans got really mad at me. And now here we are. They're the 1 seed in the AFC. I'm not discounting them as AFC contenders. Like, the defense has elevated their caliber of play, and then Bo has had better play over the back half of the season than he had in the first half of the season for sure, which is exactly what he did last year, right? He came into the playoffs playing stronger. That Chargers game was worrisome, but also like it's week 18. You never know how up for these games these teams are, so you don't want to index too much on that. I will say that just Denver against the Jaguars, you saw the difference in the potency of those passing games, right? It's just quarterbacks like Lawrence, guys who have more arm talent, who are more aggressive, who are more accurate throwing downfield, just give you more in terms of your ability to play your way out of holes. I know the Broncos have won these comeback games, but to put a little bit more stress on defenses. The lack of J.K. Dobbins worries me on offense too. The running game still has not been the same thing since he got injured in terms of down-to-down consistency. So if you gave me like Broncos versus the field, I'm definitely taking field in the AFC. But the Broncos defense, like I said, of the Texans defense, good enough to win 3 games, get you to the dance. Broncos only got to win 2, and that defense is absolutely good enough to win 2. So yes, seriously, as an AFC contender, I like the NFC 1 seed and the Seahawks more strongly in their position as the bye than I do Denver.
NFC, who's like a sneaky team. I think you said Texans could literally take it in the AFC. I like that. You just saw the odds right there for those of you who are interested in that kind of thing. Who's the team? I mean, are you going to go in on my Bears? Who do you like?
The Bears are the 2 seed. Does that constitute sneaky?
I think so, kind of, in the year that we didn't expect them to be there. No, probably not. Let's see the NFC if we could, please, control room.
Yeah. The worst seed that I believe
in. Are the Texans sneaky? I guess, yeah. You give me your Texans of the NFC.
Yeah, so the worst seed that I believe in is the Niners as the 6th seed, right? The Packers, once Parsons got hurt, I was like, all right, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't have a lot of faith in that defense. And then the 5 seed Rams, certainly, like, a little bit higher receiver. Everybody takes the Rams quite seriously. The Rams are getting Quentin Lake back at nickel. Sean McVay just said this, I think, about an hour ago. Devontae Adams and Quentin Lake expected to return. Their on-off splits defensively since Lake got hurt are crazy. Like, Lake is a very, very, very important part of that defense. His return, Tyler Higbee's back now. Like, this team, Kevin Dotson's coming back, hopefully. Like, this is getting more healthy here as a team overall. Rams, I think, are going to look a lot more like they looked, October, November than they looked over the course of December. But Niners and Rams, like, the 3 best teams in the NFC, I think, emphatically, were the 3 NFC West teams. And so if you're giving me those 2 wild card ones as sneaky options, I would take those 2.
Love that. Where can we see your work this week? What are you cooking over there at ESPN?
We did the whole defense thing. I got on Wednesday, we're having this playoff is defined by the NFL defenses. So we're kind of breaking down Texas, Broncos, Seahawks, what they do the same, what they do differently, and why they're all capable of making the run. Defense wins championships this year and this year only, apparently.
Tell your dad, go Steelers.
Go Steelers.
Gotta believe in magic, right? Ben Solak of ESPN, we thank you so much for all of the insights. We'll talk to you soon. Love that story.
Thank you, Kay.
Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer, on the show. Oh, smile! Well, good morning, Leroy. Let's talk about your Micah Parsons list, Packers. We definitely could have done attaboys. Nobody said anything to me. Richard, you can definitely tell me to bail and do that. To do attaboys instead? I could have just bailed and done that. Didn't even think about it.
Yeah, Leroy ready now. Thanks. Yeah.
I certainly would have loved to have done that. But I didn't think. Definitely, you can, if you want to do attaboys, do them. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to go to this game.
That's going to be awesome.
I cannot be that cold. What's the weather?
I saw it was a high of 39, low of 28. That's not bad for what it could be.
I don't even know. Yeah. I just want a great football game. The Bears, and that's a night game. I will not sleep.
Yeah. So it's good that it's on a Saturday instead of that Sunday night spot.
I have the same problem, but I can't. I just don't sleep in Vegas. Not like I didn't do anything. I just could not. I think they pump the air. Like I believe in that. At least somewhere in my subconscious, my mind believes that. Like, you get and you're just like stimulated, you know. Mm. And then I cannot sleep. Like I don't think I slept an hour last night.
Man. Yeah, I mean there's a lot to be like overstimulated by there too. There's a lot going on.
But it's like Vegas is fourth quarter Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
That's just I'm excited to have Leroy on. What a treat.
I know. He's the best up in Green Bay. It's the last time we talked to him was the draft.
Give me a jersey. Okay. So Tom Brady's doing the search?
Yeah, he and
With
GM John
Spytek?
Spytek. Yeah.
I don't know, man. What did he have to do with Pete?
I don't think that was really talked about, how much he was involved with that.
I'd like to know. I would love to focus Tom. Like, Tom, do this thing with the Raiders. Just do this.
Yeah.
It just pops in my head. I'm going to jump in the stands. And when I kept going, I threw the ball down. And I jump up into the best fan's arms and get the best hug of all time from the best fans of all time.
Four-time All-Pro DB for the Packers, so vicious on the field and such a delight. Now off of it, Pro Football Hall of Famer and inventor of the Lambeau Leap, Leroy Butler, Bears-Packers. What were your thoughts?
Well, I'll be honest. Ryan Poles is the executive of the year. I think Ben Johnson is the coach of the year.
Ooh!
When you go from worst to first, I don't care who it is. I don't care if we're playing hopscotch, spades. It doesn't matter. To do that to be in the second seed in 1 year is remarkable. Now put that to the side for 1 second. If you're the Green Bay Packers and you're thinking about, look at God, I get another opportunity to beat the Bears at their place, I'm going to take advantage of it. Yes.
I'm so stunned that you just gave so much love to the Bears. I feel like it's like reverse psychology or something. You know, it being the third time, like you're saying, there's another opportunity. The third time teams face each other. You had a situation like that, right? 1993. You against the Lions. You split the regular season. You split it. And then you saw them again also in the wild card round. What do you remember from that? If you look back now at that game and what those two games meant to that third?
That's why I love doing your show, because you always do your homework.
Good, great producers.
Yeah, well, it's your show, though, so they understand. I've already talked to them off camera about how amazing they are.
Love you.
I just remember having a great opportunity. How was it unfortunate or fortunate to play a team that you know? And as in the locker room, we're thinking, well, I'd rather play a team that I know, because coaches don't change a lot. Okay, they don't. They make a few wrinkles here or there, but it felt a lot more. The anxiety wasn't as high because I knew my opponent, and it was a great opportunity for us, and that really got us kicked off. A team being one of the teams that can play anywhere, beat anybody. But when you're playing a team 3 times, you only got to win the third one.
You wouldn't have rather seen Philly?
The thing about Philly is, I don't even have a word to describe Philly, because I think that when you win a Super Bowl, because I won one and lost one as they did, you feel like you can beat anybody. I don't care what my seed is. I don't care. I'm gonna sit guys. I don't. This is not the college football thing, the way they want to be seated and play a certain team. No, we'll play anybody. So Philly doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they play. So, be honest with you, we have game plans for Philly. You have game plans for Chicago, but you got to get out of the first round. Though, if you don't get out of the first round, then the Packer fans are going to be saying, well, it's much of the same has been going on.
The Packers were on a 3-game losing streak. They rest everybody in this loss to the Vikings. Would you have wanted to see, just knowing how the pace of it, the momentum part of it, all of that, the experience level, would you have liked to see the starters play a little bit more to close out the regular season?
It's a great question. I went back and looked at history, how we used to do it in the 90s, and sometimes you would sit guys and things of that nature. But nowadays, we played Jordan last year, a few plays. He got hurt.
Christian
Watson, my nephew, played him. He got hurt. Would that made a difference in us beating, going deeper in the playoffs? Maybe it would have. So my grandmother told me this, Kate. She said, what's 100% way of not getting bit by a shark? Don't go swimming.
It's a smart lady.
So if you want your guys available, don't play them. And that's what we did.
And hopefully it'll work out in Chicago. Have you seen these cheese grater hats, Leroy?
No, I haven't.
Don't, come on. You haven't seen these? Let's show. No. I think we have it.
Yeah, let me see it on screen.
These. Caleb was wearing it. They're wearing, the Chicago Bears fans are wearing cheese grater merch. How do you feel about this? What do you want to say?
Well, when you don't win a lot, it's shocking. You have to figure something out.
You wear cheese heads. Get what?
I'm just saying, no. But we've been doing it from day one.
Okay.
It's not a gimmick.
Yeah. Okay.
They're new.
I don't know. It's a gimmick.
You're not gonna always do it. Our coach don't take his shirt off. You can see our coaches fit through his shirt.
Some people wish he would.
Well, I'm just saying, namely my daughter, but that's a different show. Yeah. So.
Here's the thing.
She's 40, though. She's 40 years old.
If I was a Packer fan, I would say, I can't believe you've made an entire thing about us. Like the cheesehead is Dairyland, Wisconsin, who we are, our identity. And you guys made something about us? That's so sweet. I love that. That's what I would say if I was a Packer fan.
Petty?
Yeah.
It's petty, but it could be brilliant if it works.
I know, I like it.
But, the thing about it, when you shred it, it's still cheese.
Right.
So that's how we look at it.
Trayvon Diggs, he gets 32 snaps, Leroy, against the Vikings.
Thank you, Cowboys. Thank you.
Listen, they keep giving you guys gifts.
Cowboys.
LaFleur, with his shirt on, he said that he wouldn't rule him out as a starter a starter against the Bears. What does that look like? What kind of impact can he make? How big of a deal?
The good thing about Diggs, ball skills wise, nobody's better in the last 3, 4, 5 years. The guy's amazing. Our problem in the secondary, Kay, we can't catch. We're in defense for a reason. We've dropped probably more interceptions than any team. So give him $500,000 for 1 week. We can find that in the couch. We have nothing like him. He was an all-pro a few years ago and just needs a reset. And we're going to give it to him. And yes, he could start, because all you got to do is get 1 or 2 picks and it turns the whole game around. And I'm very excited.
He really could flip this game against the Bears, just like we've seen Kevin Byard do, even just, in an attempt yesterday. Just that's all 100%. It takes. He's got 20 career interceptions. This guy. We're going to take a short TV break. We're still live. Don't say anything crazier than you've already said. Leroy Butler, our Hall of Famer, still with us on YouTube. I want to ask you about, you mentioned catching and guys on defense. On offense, a lot of we want to see more from those, pass catchers. Matthew Golden in particular. I met you the day after he was drafted. We sat there in the atrium, the big Lombardi in the morning. He went an entire season. He hasn't scored a touchdown since then. The whole year without a touchdown. Packers fans want more. What should happen? How involved should he be?
We have to be honest. There's only way you can catch a fish. You got to put a hook in the water, or you go to the store. But he has not gotten opportunities. I mean, you have to face facts that as soon as Christian Watson came by, Romeo Dobbs, Wicks, he has not gotten the opportunity. And when he is out there, they just don't use him. I mean, the guy is a dynamic guy in space. And if they want, and then I think Stenovich, our offensive coordinator, basically said he's not going to be a factor, in the playoffs. I don't know if they're just trying to trick people, but he has not got an opportunity.
If this doesn't happen, if these cheese grating Bears win this game and the Packers don't get a win on Wild Card Weekend, this is the second year in a row that as a 7 seed, you're out, one and done. Then what? What is the conversation? Is there a change that's going to get made? What is the talk?
There is going to be a talk of that, because I think it's fair, because you're a 7th seed again. You've lost consecutive games again. And people don't really care about injuries anymore. Everybody has had injuries. But for the most part, you would think you would beat a team that you're up 16-6 with 5 minutes to go, and the Denver Broncos, you're up 23-14. I mean, if you think about it, had you won 2 of these games down the stretch, Kay, you would have won the division. Because Chicago lost the last 2. So at the end of the day, it is a clean slate in the playoffs. A lot of you guys don't have a lot of playoff experience. They're the youngest team in the league for the 3rd year in a row. But the NFL does not care. You have enough talent to go up there or go down there for them to beat them. Because I really think the Chicago Bears are a tired team. They're just wore down.
Really?
When you win all these games in the fourth quarter,
it's exhausting. I agree with that. It takes its toll. I've seen research on that.
Yes.
Interesting. Yes. So you're picking the Packers.
I have a score for you.
Please.
Packers will win 28-14.
Because, one sentence, because.
Oh, I love this. I can drill it down. Jalen Reed, there's no answer for Jalen Reed and Christian Watson. There's no answer. They don't have anybody. They give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of yards.
Love that. You're a Hall of Famer. You are unbelievable. Sending you love. Happy New Year. Thanks for being on the show.
Always a pleasure. Bye.
Cheese graters, Cheesehead, always.
Protected. To Austin for the touchdown!
Attaboy.
Stafford ends on the corner. Touchdown! What a catch!
Attaboy.
Burrow is under pressure. He sacks a record that has stood nearly a quarter of a century as a new leader.
Attaboy.
Here's some attaboys, everybody. Attaboys are given to special performances in the week that deserve just a little extra love from us this morning. And we've got 3 performances. I'm going to start with a guy who had 3 touchdowns from Andre Stevenson. Oh my gosh, he helps England lock up, New England lock up the 2 seed. 7 carries, that's all it took, all he had, all he was given, 131 yards. A K-maker of ours, by the way, on FanDuel Sportsbook, if you watch the show. 2 on the ground, 1 as a catch on top of that. He's got it all. Big fan. Sat with him at training camp. He's got the will. He's ambitious. He's got the burst. We saw that the power. He really looked unstoppable all afternoon. Fewest touches at this point in the season since his rookie year because he's obviously got Henderson there. And he scored twice, by the way. If the Pats' run game is this, like, who is stopping them? And we'll get to this throughout the week. I don't think it's a coincidence that Will Campbell back in the lineup is causing some of this to happen. So they're healthy, they're clicking at the right time, and they've got LA on Sunday. Okay, next up, attaboy to Falcons corner D. Alford, okay? What a clutch day for him. The key to the city of Charlotte, potentially, for like what he did. It's unbelievable. He flips yesterday's game on its head. He picks off Shuck. He runs it into field goal range for the Falcons for the game away. Win their 4th straight game to end the year and lock up the division title for, yes, the Charlotte Panthers, okay? Attaboy to him. I also want to point out, next, I want to see the Panthers thriving and in it and alive and well. He's probably the biggest reason this whole scenario came to be in the first place. If you go back to Falcons-Bucks Thursday Night Football a few weeks ago, who picked up Baker Mayfield? Alford did. And he lit a fire under the whole Falcons miracle comeback. If he doesn't make that play, the Bucks would have been division champs on Saturday night. Instead, now we're getting the ultimate roller coaster chaos tornado, and he brings it full circle, picking off Shuck. It was wild. I loved it. Here for it. So if you're a Panthers fan, maybe send a little love in D. Alford's DMs or via edible arrangement or something. I want to talk about Cam Jordan because I usually don't give out 2 attaboys from the same game, but he deserves it. He just loves crushing the Falcons. He lived in the Falcons' backfield all afternoon. He racked up a sack, 2 TFLs, 2 quarterback hits. The sack of Kirk Cousins was on the show this week. It gave Cam his 7th double-digit sack season, the most in Saints history. So attaboy to him. He told me last offseason he likes this new scheme with Staley and Jay Rogers. He went on when I went to see him about his position coach, Jay, and what he's allowed him to do. And so he came out here, and at his ripe age, and he's so tall. Cam, you're too tall. You call me short, I think you're too tall. He racked up 10.5 sacks at 36. We'd love to see it. And I don't know what the future holds for him. It's not what I want for him. I love the Saints, but it's not. He's got plenty left to give. And he ends the year on a high note, just like the show. We'll see you guys tomorrow.